Vikings attacked foreign shores. Vikings sailed on ships, landed on foreign shores, and attacked with swords, plundering, raping, killing, and setting fire. They spread terror and fear among the people of England, Scotland, Ireland, Paris with the river Siene, and Cordoba in Spain, and in many places in Europe. They were everywhere. The historical period of the Vikings between 793 and 937 AD is very important. The word Viking probably comes from the word Viken. V-I-K-E-N, Viken, is the hometown of the Vikings near the widest breadth of the Oslo fjord. The Viking country consisted of Jutland, islands of Fune, Jutland, Holland, Skåne, and Blekinge from Sweden. King Agantio created a navy. The Viking attacks began in Western Europe from 790 to 937 AD. They made hit and run raids across defenseless and isolated places in Europe, especially convents in England, Scotland, and Ireland. Under their king Godfred, their attacks became wider and they challenged Charlemagne. And attacked West Frisian Isles with 200 ships. Vikings from Norway and Denmark supported Lothar, the king's eldest son. Lothar, the king's son, the Louis the Pious, his eldest son was called Lothar, and he was supported by the Vikings, and they attacked West Frisian Islands. In 845, Ragnar Lodbrok attacked Paris with 120 ships and 500 men. The king in Denmark at the time, Horik, could not prevent these attacks and raids taking place. He was passive. Successes in attacking Vikings reached its peak after the middle of the 9th century. The Vikings forced many rivers, plundered many towns, and had many victories. These are the attacked places the maps show. They attacked Cordoba in Spain too. Cordoba, there is a castle of Cordoba in Spain, and they couldn't succeed much. The Mauryan rulers and Spanish Catholic Christian Spaniards resisted them in Spain. The Vikings sailed many rivers, plundered many towns, and had many successes. In the 60s, Charles succeeded in building fortresses and a bridge across Siene at Petrus. After the 11-month siege of Paris in 888, there began the end of their Viking attacks, and their plundering stopped slowly. At the end of the 9th century, the Vikings suffered several defeats. Alfred the Great constructed ships superior to those of the Vikings. Big ships, bigger than the Viking ships. He and his men, Viking ships were like this. reconstruction, a kind of imaginary reconstruction. He and his son Edward the Elder built fortresses. Both in England and Frankish kingdom, towns were fortified. In Flanders and in Frisia, circle castles were built against the Vikings invaders. Bridges were made across the French rivers to prevent Viking intrusion into the interior country. Slowly, Viking raids subsided. The Danish kingdom seemed exhausted, and in the period between 875 and 930, little is known about what happened. That was the end of the history of the Vikings raids in Europe. This is one side of the story told by a good author, a Danish author called Paul Scanning. VIKING-stormen togter mod Vest-Europa 793 to 927, published by Over the Land. It is in Danish, this book. But if you want to know the nuances of the Vikings, a varied nuances of the Viking life, how after plundering they settled down in England, they became artisans, innovation, people of innovation, new constructions, new tools, new civilization, new trade. They were the bodyguards of Byzantine kings. They were the guardian angels of the rivers in Europe. All those stories, if you want to know their poetry, their culture, you have to read another book by Else Rosendahl, a Danish professor of Cambridge. She has done archaeological research on, in English she has published in Penguins, the Vikings. The Penguins, the Vikings, by Else Rosendahl. That is another story. I am not going into that. That is a different side of the picture of the Vikings. How good they were, how cultured they were, how innovative they were, and it's all praise from this lady, Else Rosendahl. But this is the story of the Vikings who were invading and marauding, plundering and raping and killing the population and creating fright and terror in the minds of the population, so that the Christian bishops in England, they told, free as Gud fra Normannernes vildskab, free as God from the Normans' wilderness, wild behavior. And they write, some other bishop, Bishop Lippelund of Cremona, in 970 wrote, Danes are terrible lot coming from the northern ocean, and in their wilderness often they have created many sorrows in the hearts and minds of noble people in our country, like that he has written. So they induced fear and terror in the minds of the people whom they invaded. Slowly their history changed. That is the story of Vikings. Thank you.